because it almost, I mean, I don't get it. I don't get how close you would come. The ear, the top of the ear. But I think maybe it was staged.
Wow.
And I think now is the time to just come out and say, some people are going to be upset by this, but we staged the assassination attempt in Butler to show people how important it is and how important it was to vote for me and how far I was willing to go for them. Sure, some people will be upset if he admits it. I'm not one of them. I'm not one of them. I stand by Trump if he comes out and says, I faked this. I stand by him. I don't mind that. I don't mind the pageantry of that, the skill, the technique. I don't mind that. It's a little endearing that he'd be willing, because there's not no danger in a fake assassination attempt, right? Right? There's some danger. If you do a stunt in a movie, people die all the time, right? So there is still danger. And if he said, I staged it and we faked it, but they explained to me before we did it, he wasn't president yet, but they said, Donald, you could die doing this staged assassination. We don't think it'll happen, but it is difficult. And we don't know what's going to happen. I think this would be fascinating for the country. And it would move us in the right direction, because this is what, let's take a look again, Butler, Pennsylvania.
It's a little bit old, that chart. That chart's a couple of months old, and if you want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
Now, a lot of people say that when he gets up here, that the fact that he gets up and that they move very slowly, and he goes, wait, and he comes back, and they do the photo op. A lot of people are saying that's evidence. I'm not saying this, by the way. People are saying it's like letting him up like that when they don't know if there's another shooter. A lot of people are saying maybe it's a staged assassination. I'm saying I don't care if it is. I think it was very well done. No, I mean, truly. I'm saying I don't care. That is important for our country, whether it was real or fake. It is the moment where George W. Bush stood into the rubble of 9/11, which they also might have done, and with the bullhorn said, I hear you, people around the world hear you, and the people who brought these buildings down are going to hear from all of us soon. These are important moments in our country, whether they are real or fake. Not every historic moment is going to be real, and if you think it is or has to be, you have an overly simplistic understanding of history. It was important, that moment when he said, fight, fight, fight. It was important. And this, look at the people here. Does it matter if it's real? Does it matter if it's real? Does it matter if it's real? It's so emotional, and to me, do you think people would be angry if you just said we staged it?
I mean, some people would.
I think most people would. But here's the problem. I wouldn't. Does that make me crazy that I wouldn't? Does that make me, it does, huh?
Yeah.
It makes me I tell you right now, I'm not even kidding. I am not kidding. If he said we staged this whole thing, I would laugh. I would not be mad. I'm mad about Iran. I'm mad that we've gotten American servicemen, and I think just men, but I always say men and women. And if women got killed, I am sorry. The fact that anyone is dying, for this war. I'm completely against. That makes me angry. It makes me angry that we've done this. It makes me angry that we're still giving Israel military aid. It makes me angry. But if he just came out and said, by the way, we rehearsed that. We staged it. It was a production. I'm personally not angry. I don't know what that says about me. I laugh. And you know what it is? I go, Donnie. It's a Donnie T thing. I go, Donnie T. You got us again. You got us. And by the way, I'm not saying it was staged. Other people are. They kind of work in the government. I'm just saying if it was staged, come out and say it. Sit down with Barry Weiss, friend of the show, Barry Weiss, who's doing a great job at CBS, by the way. I don't know if you've heard of this. Tens of people are watching. And she's about to take a sledgehammer to 60 Minutes, their most iconic news magazine. So Barry Weiss brings him on and talks to him and goes, Mr. President, this is Barry Weiss. Welcome to CBS. Many people are angry that you admitted to fabricating your own assassination on television. But you knew how high stakes this election was. And you knew that if you didn't kill the Ayatollah in Iran, no one would. So can you tell us why it was so important to stage your own assassination? And he would, and he would. And I think that would be a fascinating show. That would be fascinating. Israel, by the way, bombing Beirut 100 times in, how long was it? Was it an hour?
10 minutes.
10 minutes! And I don't want to, guys, I don't always want to be like down on Israel, but I gotta be honest, 100 times in 10 minutes? In a densely populated urban area? I'm really starting to get the feeling, and I'm just saying this, I'm starting to get the feeling that this country, Israel, is a little bit of a problem. I'm starting to get this nagging feeling that Israel doesn't really want this ceasefire. They don't want it to work. They don't want it to work. Take a look here. Explosions rock Beirut as Israel carries out its biggest attack. Stop this for a minute. Israel claims in all of these buildings there are terrorists doing terrorist things. Like thinking, I don't know what that even means, but apparently there are terrorists everywhere talking about attacking Israel. And Israel has to kill everyone to make sure that none of these terrorists find a way to do it. So Israel just kind of like wholesale blowing up apartment complexes because within that apartment complex there are, I guess, terrorists. This is what all these brilliant people keep telling us. All the advocates of the Israeli strategy here, that there are terrorists in this apartment complex, so we just gotta light it up. We just got to blow it up. And who's this? Absolute bombshell on Sky News. A Lebanese rescue worker completely dismantles the Israeli military narrative. He confirms the bombed area in Beirut was purely civilian with zero Hezbollah presence. Israel internationally targeted innocent children and the elderly. Here's the problem when you embrace this total war that Israel seems to be embracing. Their argument is we're going to kill everyone, and then some of those people will be terrorists. That's really their argument. Their argument is like, if we kill everyone, inevitably some of the people will be terrorists. Or whatever. Take our word for it. But we have to kill everyone just to make sure. Because anyone who's thinking about becoming a terrorist, or anyone who knows a terrorist, or who might grow up to be a terrorist, has to be eliminated. So they've taken this strategy, which, by the way, I've never even seen this. In like 41 years of my life, I've never seen the brutality of this type of warfare. Now, I'm sure it's existed. I'm not an idiot. But this idea that you would just go in and bomb 100 targets in 10 minutes, and a lot of them are civilians, and you are massacring people, women and children. I mean, the blowback that Israel will get from this, and that the United States will get from funding it, is going to be insane. You're creating terrorists all over the world that are seeing this bloodshed, and is going to radicalize them to commit acts of terror. You can't just indiscriminately kill civilians and not expect that people are going to be radicalized and driven to violence. And Israel doesn't want this ceasefire to last with Iran. They don't. They want the Iranian regime completely neutered. They want it to be a dysfunctional country. They want it to look like Gaza. They want it to at least be Syria, where you have either a puppet government, you have kind of a dysfunctional country. They don't want an Iranian regime that is stronger and more dedicated to getting nuclear weapons than they were, but that's what they're going to get. That's what they're going to get. Because it's pretty clear to everybody who's honest that we've lost. Our objectives in this war have not been met. We simply are walking away, and we should, but the only way to win is like 100,000 troops or a nuke. That's the only way to win. And there's people in the country that want a nuke used. And there's people that have argued for that at high levels, truly, that are saying, why don't you drop a nuke on Iran? And if we go after the Iranian infrastructure, their energy infrastructure, they're going to hit energy infrastructure in the Gulf. The price of oil is going to skyrocket. We're going to have a global energy crisis. So we've lost. There's nowhere to go. It's checkmate. We can't do the things we think we can. We're tweeting, we're truth socialing, whatever. We're trying to win the war on social media, and we're not even doing that because do you have the Lego thing up? Can you get that Lego video? We're not even winning the shit-talking war. We're not even winning that. The shit talk? You think America would win that, at least? If we're going to win one thing, we're getting bodied by Iranian AI in the war of shit talk. Truly, how embarrassing. We're the country that invented shit talk, and we're getting lit up. Take a look.
Orange pig, America first. Oops. Oh boy, that was the slogan you stole. But Bibi's pulling strings and your vote is getting cold. We're not just fighting for Iran. It is clear your people reached out to us. Yeah, we got the DMs here. If one nation's gonna stand against the Epstein regime's fear, it's us to the last breath. We've been doing it for years. We're standing here for everyone your system ever wronged and known all along.
How are we losing in this? We are getting bodied with the Lego stuff.
Stealing from your own people, making them bleed, taking tax dollars just to fund your own greed. They waking up to the lies and illusions.
Unbelievable.
You scream America first now. You put
Unbelievable.
make Israel great again. Your government is run by pedophiles. They ordered you to die for Israel. They ordered you to die for Israel. They lied to you all.
I mean, we're not even winning that. We're losing that. I I mean, it's unbelievable. God! If something's been off in the bedroom, you're not the only one. A lot of guys wait longer than they need to take action. The difference? Getting real treatment is simple through HIMS. HIMS connects you with licensed healthcare providers online, giving you simple access to legitimate ED treatment options from home. No awkward appointments, no pharmacy line. Just a complete, simple online intake, and a provider will review your information to determine if treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your treatment ships directly to your door in discreet packaging. That includes sildenafil, also known as generic for Viagra, available from HIMS at up to 95% less than the brand name version. And if that option isn't right for you, there are additional treatment options available, so you can find what works best for your body. It's straightforward, transparent, and designed to make getting care feel easy. To get simple online access to personalized, affordable care for ED, hair loss, weight loss, and more, visit hims.com/Tim. That's hims.com/TIM for your free online visit. hims.com/Tim. Prescription required. See website for details and important safety information. Sildenafil is a generic version of Viagra. Viagra is registered trademark for Viatris Specialty LLC. HIMS is not affiliated or endorsed by Viatris. Morgan & Morgan is America's largest personal injury law firm. Their fee is free unless they win. It is amazing. They have 100 offices nationwide and more than 1,000 lawyers. With over $30 billion recovered for over 500,000 clients, Morgan & Morgan has a proven track record of fighting to get you full and fair compensation. If you're ever injured, you can check out Morgan & Morgan. I mean, can you imagine? They're so confident in their ability to win. Their fee is free unless they win? For more information, go to forthepeople.com/TIM or dial #law. That's FOR, thepeople.com/TIM or dial #law to let them know I sent you. This is a paid advertisement. Well, at least the state of California is doing good. Gavin Newsom came out and touted some figures that show that the state of California, where I'm sitting right now, is it the fourth largest economy in the world, because we just beat Japan and India, but we didn't beat them by much, by the way. And some of that has to do with, the currency, strength of the dollar, and things like that. But California is right now, I believe, we have a $4 trillion gross domestic product, and it accounts for more than 14% of U.S. output. And this outpaced major economies. And I believe we were number 5, but now we are number 4. We are number 4 in rank. California is number 4 in rank when it comes to GDP and growth. But everyone I know wants to kill themselves because California also has a terrible consumer confidence rating, like the rest of America, by the way. People feel very insecure economically, but because California has 5 big tech companies and they're run by 5 guys who are all in some way Satan, those companies account for a ton of the wealth being generated in California. It's a tech-heavy state. And all of those companies, we're talking about things like Alphabet, NVIDIA, OpenAI, all of these things. This is a big part of why California is kicking ass. California's future growth will be intimately tied to the fortunes of its tech industry. To get some idea of how tech-driven California's economy has become during the Newsom years, I looked at market capitalizations of large publicly traded companies before he took office versus today. At the end of 2018, about 60% of California big public company market cap was from tech. Today is about 80%, so it's gone up about 20%. And the increase in this ratio is driven by the sharp increase in the value of a few companies. NVIDIA, Apple, Alphabet, which is Google, Broadcom, Meta, which is Facebook. All these companies are now worth more than $1 trillion. While back in 2018, none of them was worth more than $750 billion. So all these tech companies are $1 trillion companies. They account for a massive amount of the GDP. By contrast, California's other signature industry, movie and television production, has shrunk. On-location shoot days in LA plummeted 53% from late 2019 to late 2024, while soundstage occupancy fell from around 90% to just 63%. Iconic studios /staff, prop houses shuttered, and vendors went bankrupt. Entertainment can no longer be considered a tentpole of the California economy. So, by the way, this is the future of the United States. Tech is everything. It's everything. These firms employ a relatively few people to, if you compare it to like what General Motors employed at the height of or Chrysler or companies like that. Tech companies employ very few people relative to those companies, and they're shedding jobs because AI is doing a lot more. So a lot of the jobs that would have been traditional tech jobs are going away. And these companies, NVIDIA, Alphabet, Google, which is Alphabet, Apple, Meta, these companies are, so this is why Newsom, every interview, talks about we have more engineers, we're graduating more engineers, we have more doctors, we have more tech, we have more this, we have more that. But then you drive down the highway and someone who's bleeding is wandering across the highway in some altered mental state. And that's coming soon to a theater near you.
Yeah, that's fine.
This is exactly what happens when the entire country is, the entire economic output of the country is a few tech companies worth $1 trillion run by different versions of Satan. Again, their words, not mine. This is what happens. But the rest of California is just left to figure it out. So you go, wow, this is because you say to yourself, wow, what does the fourth largest economy in America look like? Like if I went to LA, not America, the fourth largest economy in the world. What would that look like? If I went to the fourth largest economy in the world, you're expecting something. You're going, wow, I bet it's clean. I bet the people seem productive. I bet things run efficiently. It's the fourth largest economy in the world. I bet it's safe because there's enough money. I bet the standard of living's pretty high. I bet they've taken care of the vulnerable members of their society. I'm sure there's not rampant crime. It's the fourth largest economy in the world. And if you went to the flagship city of that, which is Los Angeles, you'd be horrified. You'd be absolutely horrified. You'd be going, what's going on? Why are there people sleeping on the street? Why are there people overdosing in Whole Foods? Why are there people going face down into a Whole Foods Caesar salad and dying? Why are there blue-lip fentanyl addicts having seizures at the bus stop? And you go, oh, because this economy is run by 5 companies locked away in Northern California. And that allows Gavin Newsom to go out and go, whoa, hell, hey, nobody's more productive than us, like this NVIDIA CEO. I forget this guy's name. Jensen Huang? Jensen Huang. Jensen Huang urged people to move to California despite the high taxes. Just a group of billionaires left the state in recent months under the threat of a new wealth tax. I say to everybody, Jensen says, move to California, don't leave. It's the highest taxes in the world, but it's okay. Now, Jensen Huang is the world's 10th richest person. And he said the weather is great during an event at Stanford on Thursday. He goes, the weather is great. So this is who California is now for. The 10th richest person. By the way, it may even work if you're the 30th richest person in the world. You might love it. It's totally fine if you're not even in the top 20. You could be like the 35th richest person in the world and get along fine here. But you might wonder if you're in the 4th most productive economy in the whole world, why people are dying in front of you. That might cross your mind. You know, like people can argue about the reasons why, but everybody knows it's happening. People in the far right, far left, checked out, center, whatever, everybody can see that it's happening. In the 4th most productive economy in the country, everybody says, well, that's interesting. And then, by the way, just talk to anyone in California. Talk to them and ask them how things are going. That's like a very non-scientific poll. Just be like, what's up, guys? How you feeling? Because nobody feels great except that this guy who likes the weather, who's the 10th richest person in the world. Go speak to anyone in LA. I'm not talking about like Paris Hilton. Go find a person in Los Angeles and ask them how they're doing. Waiter, waitress, somebody who works at a gym, somebody who used to be a cameraman, somebody who used to work in set design. Find any of those people. See how they're doing. How are they doing? How do they feel? Do they feel like they're the 4th most productive economy in the world? Does it feel like that? No, because it's all balanced on these 5 companies. And all of those companies are trying to take the jobs of everybody else. So by the way, it's still going to be. California will still be the 4th largest economy in the world when everyone's out of work. And it's a full-on zombie apocalypse, and hordes of people are running around on some new designer drug trying to eat each other. It will still be. In fact, at that point, it might be the 3rd largest economy in the world. California might go up because they might have just said, fuck it. These companies are making more money. We fired everybody. And the airplanes won't be able to land because hordes of zombies will be running around LAX, and they'll have to mow them down. They'll have to mow the zombies down on the runway at LAX. They'll go, ladies and gentlemen, we're having a slight delay here. We're going to have to circle the airport at LAX. We do have an incident on one of the runways, the runway that we were cleared to land at. So we're just going to circle the airport. This is very routine. Don't worry about it. And then what will happen is people will come out with guns and then shoot the hordes of zombies on runway 3L so that your plane can land. And there will be bodies of zombies that they light on fire, and you'll see them. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Los Angeles. Sorry about the delay there, but we still got you in about 10 minutes ahead of schedule. We have, of course, as you can see, an incident that we're still responding to, because you got to remember they're going to be burning the bodies of the zombies at LAX. They'll be burning the bodies of the zombies when your flight lands, and at that point, California will be the 3rd largest economy. It'll have gone up one because they'll have eliminated some of the overhead. All the pesky overhead, they will have eliminated it, so they don't need the people anymore. So there'll be 17 people at that point living in the Bay Area, and they'll all have $1 trillion. There'll be 17 people living in the Bay Area, and they'll all have $1 trillion, and they'll have houses with security and clock towers with guys with guns. And then everybody else is going to be running around like fucking, what's the zombie one? The big one that was the popular one? What was it?
8 years later?
No, the TV show.
Oh, Walking Dead.
Yeah, it's going to be like The Walking Dead, and then 17 people, and they're going to come out, and the governor, whoever it is at that point, will come out and go, we're very proud to be the 3rd largest economy in the world. And we graduate more engineers than ever. And then it'll just be 17 people that live in Northern California. They all have, at that point, they'll have $2 trillion companies. Their companies will be worth $2 trillion because they'll have figured out a way to completely replace they'll take humans out of most things, so it'll drive the profits up astronomically. Let's be honest, the cost of living isn't just high, it's exhausting. So if you've been leaning on credit cards lately just to cover the basics like groceries, gas, utility bills, you're essentially paying a survival tax of 20% interest or more. Why keep handing your hard-earned paycheck to the big banks when you can keep it for your family? My friends at American Financing have a better way. They're helping homeowners tap their equity to pay off high interest rate debt with mortgage rates currently in the 5s. On average, American Financing is saving customers $800 a month. That's nearly $10,000 a year back in your pocket. It's not just a loan, it's a total financial reset. It takes about 10 minutes to find out what you can save. There are no upfront fees and no obligation to talk to a salary-based mortgage consultant. Here's the kicker. Start today and you can even delay 2 mortgage payments. American Financing, America's home for home loans. 866-5350. That's 866-5350 or AmericanFinancing.net/Dylan. Disclaimer, MLS 182334, NMLSconsumeraccess.org. APR for rates in the 5 start at 6.196 for well-qualified borrowers. Call 866-886-5350. That's 866-886-5350 for details about credit, cost, or terms, or AmericanFinancing.net/Dylan, DILLON. I love Helix Mattress. I'm going to tell you right now, I love it. I have the Midnight Deluxe. Let me tell a short story about Helix Mattress to make people understand how comfortable Helix Mattress is. My friend and his wife fell on hard times. This happens to people. My friend lost his job, and his wife already wasn't working because she was raising their child. They were evicted from their apartment. They were a family. And because their families had sadly died in 9/11, both of their families had died in 9/11, and that's how they met on the first date. He said, my family died in 9/11. She said, my family died in 9/11. And they fell in love and had a child. And they moved in together, and they got an apartment. And he lost his job. And she wasn't working. She was taking care of the children. And they were evicted from their home. And they couldn't get any help from anyone. They wouldn't ask me. They were too proud. They moved a Helix mattress in the back of a strip mall by a large, what do they call the large garbage things? A large garbage disposal? Not a disposal, you know what I mean? Like a very large thing where you put garbage.
Like a trailer?
No, that's a trailer is a different thing. I mean like a big dumpster. Like a large dump. Can you Google large dumpster to see what I mean? Like a large dumpster, I think. Hit image. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Okay. So they moved their Helix mattress next to something that looked like that in the back of a strip mall in Long Island, where there was a pizzeria and a nail salon and things like that. And they would go and they had this big tent, and they would go into the pizzeria during the day, and the guy that ran the pizzeria would give them garlic knots. Google a garlic knot and hit image. This is what they lived on. It's kind of tasty, actually. They would get sick of it because that's all they would eat, but sometimes they would stuff the knots with pepperoni or protein. So this is primarily what they're eating. They're eating garlic knots from the pizzeria. Sometimes the deli would give them stuff too. But this is their main staple of food now. They're eating garlic knots. Remember, their families were killed in 9/11. So they can't go to their families. They're both only children. And their families died in 9/11. My friend's family worked in the towers. His mom and dad both worked at Cantor Fitzgerald. They were both financial people. And my friend's wife, her mother and father were on the plane from Logan that flew into the building. So they can't get any help from their families, and they're proud people. So they don't reach out. So they're living in a tent in the mattress in the back of a strip mall next to the dumpster in Long Island, and they're eating garlic knots from the pizzeria. Okay? And